What's your opinion on doing the when you're blowing in straw in the water? Have you tried that?
I love it. I call it a vocal coach in a cup. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like it works very well. Um, just just blowing in the water can help you to awaken your respiratory system. Making sound in it is great. What I like to do is have people focus on trying to make the bubbles as small in height and steady as possible. It's more challenging. You don't have to do it to get benefit, but if you do, you will find that your voice will grow in terms of forceful power a great deal. And especially on the weak spots of your voice. And one thing I talk about a lot, I don't know if you've heard me say this before. I know if someone's watching and they've watched my videos, I talk a lot about how head voice was like the hardest thing for me to learn how to do, which is funny because I like head voice and falsetto tones are like kind of my superpower now. But they were hard for me to learn because I didn't realize it at the time, but I was throwing out too much breath because I loved like Brian McKnight and Maxwell and singers who were kind of almost countertenors practically sometimes for how much head voice and like heady mix they would use, like or lost without you, can't help myself, how does it feel? That kind of singing, I couldn't do it. I would get lost without you, can't help, how does I felt like I could not find a place to kind of, I don't know, hold on to or something. I felt like it was just like a ghost. Like I couldn't grab it. And so I would just kind of belt out everything as a young singer. But the Straw in a Cup of Water, what's so great about it is it shows you what you're doing. So like if you go, pretend this has water in it, but
Yeah.
if the bubbles are splashing everywhere, then you know you're using too much breath. Because when you're compressing breath, the bubbles should be small and steady, which is incredibly counterintuitive. But if the bubbles are small, trust me, it's much harder to make them small. When the bubbles are small and steady, then you know that you're compressing the breath and you're making focus tone. And when you go to sing after that, your body remembers that and you'll find it so much easier to find focus. And this applies to chest voice, mix, whatever. But for me, it was head voice that was the hard part. I just could not find the coordination. And it's because I was just like kind of hemorrhaging air. I was throwing so much breath. I was like Mariah Carey, but in a bad way, because she can actually do it, you know. But I was like soup. I was kind of like John Mayer, I guess, like body is a wonderland, losing my head. I was just throwing out breath, and I could not find the focus, and it helped me a lot. So I freaking love it. Yeah, yeah.
And probably then when you're, as you said, when you have small bubbles, you need to work with this. So it ties into what you said before.
You will definitely feel it, and you'll probably feel like in the A approach we call it paradoxical openness, because what you'll feel is, and again pretend I'm having my imaginary straw, but if you look as I do it, ooh, ooh, my rib cage actually kind of pushes out, and I think this is the true spirit of inhalare la voce, the Italian concept of inhaling tone. There's a sense of the body almost inhaling even though you are in fact exhaling. And there have been studies done on this as well. We know that when the solar plexus and the lats work to compress air in a way that protects the throat, there's an outward push. Ooh, zzz, and it's much more subtle if someone's actually singing. I'm like making a big thing of it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you do the straw in the water, yes, I would get a ooh, my ribs would flare out more so in the back, but you can see the front of me. So
Would your
obviously.
belly go out as well?
No, the belly actually comes in and up to because that's because the transverse abdominis supports the rib cage, and there's like a lifting and a lengthening of the spine. But there's a ooh, you kind of become more V-shaped. So ooh, as you're singing, and it's because they noticed. I think that, and I feel like I could. I'm so obsessed with this stuff. I could get sidetracked so easily. So I'm sorry, but I think it connects to like terms like appoggio and stuff like that. The idea of kind of like leaning into the sternum or pushing out with the ribs. This that there's an outward push as opposed to an Basically, one thing I know for sure: if the rib cage collapses, you're forfeiting some of your vocal power. So if the ribs go whoosh, even if you sound good, you're not getting all the sounds your body is capable of because the fact is you can't have inflated lungs or an open diaphragm in a closed rib cage. So